the most recent thing that has really concerned us about the UK, which is something where I think the UK has even gone further in political extremism, is this two-tiered policing system.
Yes, two-tier rule. It's more than just the policing; it's the judiciary and law as well.
I mean, we've gone back to the Commons and the Lords again.
Almost. It's because it's kind of a postmodernist version of that. And just for context, so we have a new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, who openly calls himself a socialist. Nigel Farage, who is well known in your country and a friend of Trump, joined or announced he'd be running in Reform UK, which is a conservative right-wing party. It is populist. I've interviewed Nigel and asked him about this, and he is against the failure of the elite. In our case, it's the metropolitan Westminster elite who have the globalist worldview mindset. It's only been about 4 months now that he's been in charge. One of the many failures, as well as doing nothing about immigration, is this two-tier rule that you described. Now, when it comes to populism, everyone agrees that populism exists, but we don't all agree on what it means. As we discussed earlier, Nancy Pelosi seems to think it means demagoguery. She's wrong about that. Two-tier rule is curious because we all agree on what it means, which is that different groups are treated differently by the legal system based on their identity. But we don't all agree that it exists. Keir Starmer denies that it exists. Even some conservatives, like, for example, our former Home Secretary, Priti Patel, she denies that it exists. So I need to make the case, and I've got some of the details because it's so astonishing that I need to get these details right because you wouldn't believe them. So, for example, Lucy Connolly, who's the wife of a Conservative councillor, has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for racist tweets that were deemed to be inciting violence in the time of the English riots. Her tweet was, "Mass deportation now. Set fire to all the fucking hotels, full of the bastards for all I care. While you're at it, take the treacherous government and politicians with them. I feel physically sick knowing what these families will now have to endure. That makes me racist, so be it." Now, that's not nice, particularly the line, "set fire to all the fucking hotels full of the bastards for all I care," because actually the rioters were setting fire to the hotels in which there were many people, and that could have ended extremely badly. That was a dark moment, and that's not
It's a bad tweet.
And maybe there should be punishment. The point is she's got 2.5 years sentence for the tweet. Now, at the same time that's happening, and I don't know if your listeners know this, but in August there was riots up and down the country. This is all the beginning of this. Before those riots, you had riots in Hare Hills, you had riots in Whitechapel, you had riots in fighting in Southend. There was no reaction to. Keir Starmer barely mention them. The killing that inspired the English riots in August, where 3 young girls, were brutally stabbed to death in Southport by a 18-year-old who just turned 9, or maybe he was 17 and just turned 18. A horrific murder. That was the incident that inspired.
This is the girls that were at the Taylor Swift dance party.
Correct. When the English riots happened, and there were terrible things that happened in the riots, mainly that the police were being attacked. There were definitely incidences where there were racist attacks, but no one was killed. I'm not defending the riots. Rioting is never okay. So I'm not defending. I'm just trying to paint a picture of what happened. What happens after that is that Sir Keir Starmer says we're going to have extra police. We're going to hurry these through the judiciary, and we're going to have quick justice. Well, it's been very severe justice. So I just want to make the case then. I'm not defending the behavior. I'm trying to show the disparity between the judgment of and the sentencing of these certain crimes in comparison with other crimes. In 2021, there's a very famous incident, you might have seen it, an entourage of cars driving around London, shouting, F the Jews, F their mothers, rape their daughters. These people, on megaphones going around the Jewish part of North London. Nothing. No punishment. Not at all. So this is a sense of two-tier. One group are getting treated well and are getting off the hook, and another are not. And there's another one that really I'm very upset about, so I'd like to share this one with you. There's a fella called Adam Smith Connor who was criminally convicted for praying outside an abortion clinic. It's cost him thousands in legal fees and probably will bankrupt him. And he's been criminally convicted.
For praying.
For praying outside an abortion clinic. And if you look, it's technically in parts of the country, it is illegal to pray in certain parts of the country. However, on October 8th, 2023, outside the Israel Embassy in Kensington in London, and you could see these videos, swarms of people went to the embassy. They were not just celebrating. They were not just lighting up red and green flares. They were not just chanting Allah Akbar in joy. They were on their knees facing Mecca, praying thanks. Those people were not sentenced.
But the Christian guy who was praying...
The Christian guy praying inside his head, outside an abortion clinic, he has been criminally convicted. This is two-tier system.